Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, our website, or our social media. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a 10th anniversary piece for Louis Moinet. This is the Louis Moinet Memoris Chronograph. 46 millimeters in red gold. It was a 60-piece limited edition to mark 200 years since Louis Moinet's innovations in chronograph design. He was a pioneer in that regard, and 10 years since the re-establishment of the Louis Moinet brand in the modern era. It is a substantial watch. 46 millimeters in red gold. It's 15.9 millimeters thick, and you can see from lug to lug actually a reasonable 51.2 millimeters with a nice cambered shape, so it fits well on a smaller wrist despite its size. Between the lugs, incredibly broad and beefy. 24 millimeters. This watch has a heck of a stance on the wrist, but as you can see, because it's not terribly broad lug to lug, it does sit well. Nicely poised, physically secure, and actually decent of proportion. The lug shape and the lug curvature means you can wear this watch on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters in circumference, but you feel all of that metal. There's a lot of watch here, and I actually find it quite gratifying as the watch feels its price and station. Now let's take a quick look at the hardware and the software. I'll give you a quick look at the thickness as well. It will fit under a jacket cuff, just not tight dress sleeves. Rolling over to that hardware and software equation, let's talk about the strap first. Louis Moinet, not shorting you the leather. This is a thick piece with large rectangular scale alligator leather in black, high gloss, monotone stitch. You can see, although it's got a sheer side, it is actually a folded side. And on the underside, we have double gator, small round scale on the bottom, large rectangular scale on the top, is with FP Journe, modern Vacheron, and a number of LU Chopard models having the gator on both sides creates a more expensive but longer lasting strap, and this watch is worth it. Also note the use of pull tab spring bars so you can quickly remove the strap from the case without tools. The buckle is substantial. You can see a little fleur-de-lis, and when we pop open the clasp, and I'm going to do that right now, you can see that it is substantial inside. A double fold deployant with retention springs, all of it beautifully ADLC blackened, and there is a large and substantial red gold buckle externally. This is a wonderful system for protecting against accidental droppage while donning or removing at bedside. You'll also note that the strap and the case are designed as a unit. The strap itself has a little revetment or garage. There's a recess in the case flank that allows the strap a full range of motion despite the fact that the lugs themselves are drilled very close to the case. Realizing you can build a bigger watch but not a bigger client, Louis Moinet engineered this strap to move all the way down around the wrist, and that little recess in the flank allows this big watch to wear small. Now there's a piece of synthetic zircon inserted in each of these screw-fixed chatons. I've never seen chaton used in lug profiles to retain the bar that holds a strap in place. Normally these are used on generally German wristwatch movements, as you'll find in Lange and Glashütte Original. Here, to see chaton holding synthetic black zircon in a lug profile is both very different and distinctive of this brand. You can also see the lug profile sharply creased with polished lugs and a satin finish on the case that's vertical. So the hand finishing elements here are extraordinary with a welded lug profile and that double finish of polish and satin. Money and time were spent on this watch. You can also see that Louis Moinet subscribes, as with Grubel Forsey and Beauvais, to a more is more ethos, as there is a lot going on with a shoulder for the crown fixed in place by screws, and you can see there's a sort of pyramide, or one might say a hobnail, on the mono pusher for the chronograph itself. Rotated around, you can see the Louis Moinet brand inscribed on the flank of the case, and there's a bezel that operates on multiple physical levels. There's a polished gadroon inside. The rest is satin finished except for the outer flanks of the extended, shall we call them, winglets of the bezel, each held by a polished screw in its own right. Now on the dial, there's a lot going on here. Louis Moinet, again, more is more, but they're creating a dial side chronograph that's integrated into the Louis Moinet 54 caliber. So you can see there's a lacquered dial with loom down at 6 o'clock. There is a satin finished metallic chaptering outboard for reading the chronograph minutes. There are sub registers, as you can see, for constant seconds and jumping chronograph minutes. And then you can see the lateral clutch as well as the column wheel mechanism for the mono pusher. The system operates beautifully, it feels as good as it sounds, and frankly as good as it looks, and all of the finishing is of a very high grade. Because it is a lateral clutch, it keeps no secrets. You can see the entirety of the action. The column wheel is black polished, but so is an extensive amount of the dial side. As you can see just how much specular or poly noir is executed. That is the highest standard of optical finish and the most time consuming. The screw heads are all black polished with chamfered slots, and you can see there's also a good deal of satination of the steel levers, horns, and yoke of the chronograph with bevels on the sides of those components. Now the watch does feature hacking or stop seconds, so when I pull the crown out, you can see that the constant seconds stops. That is surprisingly a rare feature on high horology watches. Louis Moinet doing things the right way there. Now the movement is automatic winding with a rose gold and, as you can see, steel rotor, automatically winding a 48-hour power reserve. You could see the signatures of Concepto, which was the movement partner in the creation of this 34 jewel movement. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it winds on ceramic rotor bearings that operate at exceptional efficiency. It is an automatic system that winds in both directions, so unlike modern unidirectional winders, this one doesn't have a pronounced unidirectional rotor wobble or sound to it, and that in spite of ceramic rotor bearings. So there's a level of refinement here you rarely get with modern winding systems. You can also see that there are impressive circular Côte de Genève across the bridges. There are mirrored bevels, there are black polished screws, and there's a stippling or engine turning on the baseplate with all visible wheels satin finished. So this is a very nicely executed movement, and surprisingly for a dress watch, the timepiece is 50 meters, not 30 meters, water resistant. Is more? Louis Moinet certainly thinks so. Fortunately, if you're going to issue a watch that gives you a surfeit of features and visual stimulus, execute it beautifully, and this watch is a very rich dessert. Triple chocolate cake, if you will. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Louis Moinet Memoris. As you can see, it is lightly loomed.